The National Democratic Congress (NDC) has asked the National Peace Council to select a venue for the much-awaited dialogue between itself and the governing New Patriotic Party on disbanding political party militias. The party also wants the council to serve as mediator for the dialogue President Akufo-Addo called for in a State of the Nation address more than 3 weeks ago. The letter inviting the Peace Council is in response to another written by the NPP's General Secretary John Boadu asking the opposition party to select a venue of their choice for the meeting. Now it reads, "We write to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated March 15, 2019. Wish to thank you for the contents therein. We are gratified that you have, in agreement with our view, confirmed our position that this discussion has to be a multi-stakeholder engagement. In furtherance of this, we have taken the liberty to request the National Peace Council to kindly exercise a statutory mandate and assume the role of mediator in the deliberations on the above subject. We hold ourselves ready to meet your good selves at any venue and date the National Peace Council may propose. We also take this opportunity to bring to your attention a copy of our most recent correspondence with His Excellency the President as it reaffirms our earlier position on the matter." Thank you again for the letter, and this is signed by the General Secretary of the Opposition National Democratic Congress, Johnson Esiedun-Ketia. Our Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, has had cause to once again complain about the seriousness MPs attach to their parliamentary duties. This was after he met a virtually empty chamber when proceedings began on Thursday. Of the 275 MPs, only 15 were seated. The Speaker, once again, like other speakers before him, only admonished them on the need to prioritize sitting at the plenary over anything else. There's more in this report.
The Parliament of Ghana virtually empty at 10:15 a.m. Thursday. The 275 parliamentarians were expected to be seated at 10 a.m. to question the health minister on some pressing health concerns. Ironically, Parliament gallery for the public was full. Citizens had taken their seats, ready to observe their MPs do their job. Except there were only 15 MPs, with the majority represented by 12 members, with the remaining 3 being the minority. This is not the first time the chamber has been deserted by MPs. In the last year, only 4 MPs were present in the chamber when proceedings were due to begin. But at each time it happens, the Speaker only fumes.
We have an appointment with the good people of Ghana, particularly the young ones who come to listen to their parliament. I will pray that we take this obligation seriously. If we take our nation seriously, we should take this obligation seriously. Because by the combined effort of all of us doing our bit, that it can be progress and development in this country. This is a very important imperative. And please tell colleagues, we need to do our duty at the plenary before anything else. Honorable members, please take note.
The absentee MPs then show up, except the Speaker would have cause to fume again over absenteeism. The Health Minister, Kwaku Agyeman-Manu, who was also due in the House, failed to show up. Majority Chief Whip Kwesi Amaya-Okyerema told the House the minister could not be reached for explanation.
Their names in the pending week. So I'm not too sure. We are still trying to get in touch with him. If in the course of the day we are able to link up with him and he's available and he has the answer, the Speaker may permit him to answer the question in the course of today.
Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu, however, chose to highlight the failure of ministers of state to show up on the floor when they are needed for questioning.
They should take their response to your call to Parliament in the exercise of oversight in the name of parliamentary questions more seriously, particularly so that you have a minister assisted by deputy ministers. So even when the minister is not available, we should have a deputy minister stand in his state. But to have this zero vacuum, no minister, no deputy, Speaker Amiyao, because of his affability, won't hold you. The sins are not yours. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, maybe we'll get Mr. Speaker's directive on this matter.
Vice Chairman of Parliament's Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee, Alexander Aban, on his part explained MPs have other commitments which often conflict with their parliamentary functions.
It's been a perennial problem. We may have to look at the process, the people that we take to Parliament. You see, it appears to me that in Ghana we don't have career politicians properly so-called, right? We seem to have businessmen, people who are doing some business and other things. Probably they get to a certain point and coming to Parliament becomes one of the many steps for self-actualization and not necessarily coming to do the work. So we must even look at even the grooming process, right? Sometimes you are there in a constituency, somebody may have traveled abroad somewhere, he comes with money, right? Before you realize, he just jumps into it. If the delegates find him worthy, not necessarily that he has the best of intentions, but probably because he has been able to pay his way through, before he realizes he's in Parliament. And it becomes just to say, he just adds it to his CV, and he may not even be part of the actual lawmaking process in the House. It's a serious matter.
This is the umpteenth time MPs have showed up late. Maybe sanctions could deter them, or maybe not. Joseph Opokugapo, JoyNews.
Well, joining us via Skype right now is Ernest Ni Ashite Ama, Director of Research, Odikro, that's the Parliamentary Watchdog Group, and we'll be speaking with him in a bit. But we have also been speaking with some members of the public on their views about how this challenge can be addressed.
Oh, they have to suspend them. They have to take drastic action because we are paying them. We are paying them. The taxpayers' money they have been using to pay them. So if they absent this, they have to sanction them. Leadership by example.
I vote for my MP to go there. I cannot go there, that's why I voted for him. So it's duty. You have to put the private duty aside and then work on it. So it's very bad. They have to go there at least. Even if you go there, you cannot use the whole time. You can seek permission that I have to attend different program. But I can't vote for you, and I want you to go and bring a feedback, and then you sit in the house.
If they are asked permission with a good reason, it's okay. But some of them are ministers. So if they have assignment to do, they can ask permission from Parliament and just go and execute it.
It just shows they are not serving our best interests. Yeah, they are not there because of us. Because if they are serving the people, then they should be there. Because they are our representatives. They don't represent themselves. They are our representatives. So if they're not there, then it's quite unfortunate that.
Now, thank you for making time to speak with us, Mr. Ashite Ama. Now, you have heard what the people have been saying. We've been speaking to some members of the public. It doesn't appear as if Ghanaians are angry enough that the MPs are not in the chamber to represent them. Does that surprise you?
Well, Ezra, thanks so much for your time. I think it's important that we recognize the genuine concern shared by Ghanaians, because it's an expression of the fact that they really care and want to make this democracy work. You know, my fear is the day people stop talking, complaining, that's the day when myself and other well-meaning Ghanaians will be really scared. Because one of the tipping points for lawlessness is institutional distrust, and we are gradually getting there. This is not the first time that MPs have absented themselves from sittings. It has been something that has been happening. And we at Odikro have been looking into this matter since 2015. And we've written several times to the speakers of parliament, and no action is being taken. So there's no motivation to actually do the right thing, because the MPs know that they can get away with it. After all, the speaker can only admonish them.
So why is it that the speaker can only admonish them? Can't the speaker go beyond that and actually sanction them? Of
course, the Constitution makes specific provisions for that. if you look at the 1992 Constitution, Article 97(1)(c), and the Standing Orders of Parliament, the Privileges Committee is supposed to summon chronically absentee MPs and request from them their reasons for absenting themselves that much from sittings of Parliament. But throughout the various parliaments of the Fourth Republic, we have not seen that. We have written to the chair of the Privileges Committee to call these absentee MPs to order, but nothing has been done. Even though we've heard him. I'm referring to Mr. Joseph Osei in public, admitting that indeed the records that we provided are a true reflection of absenteeism at the House, but no action has been taken. So the Speaker has avenues to take action, but we don't understand why that is not happening.
What do you think it would take for the Speaker to get to act? Probably Ghanaians would have to express their anger about the way things are going.
Yeah, Israel, there have been demonstrations in the past, but maybe we can try something we haven't tried before.
Oh, you tell us.
Getting many Ghanaians, maybe 1,000 or more, to petition the Privileges Committee to take action against chronically absent MPs. Maybe that will be a good step forward, because we need a lot more Ghanaians to be interested in this matter and to keep writing to Parliament, especially the chair of the Privileges Committee, to take action against these MPs.
Now, we also heard from one of the MPs who was saying that it's probably because the MPs who make their way into the House are actually probably not that committed. Could that also be a problem, the kind of people we vote for?
You know, that is why we have systems and procedures in Parliament, because the assumption is that not all the people who go into Parliament are, in quote, good people or have the best interest of their constituents at heart. So the systems and the procedures of Parliament is actually to push members of Parliament to perform. So the problem that we're having is enforcement of the systems and procedures of Parliament. And that's what we are not seeing. And that's why even some MPs who used to be hardworking are gradually starting to get discouraged.
All right, thank you very much, Ernest Ni Ama Ashite, who is with Odikro Parliamentary Watchdog Group, Odikro. Now, let's get to go through some of the headlines about regarding with the Speaker having to express his anger about the way things have gone in the outside of MPs and absentees, and it's right here. You can see Speaker suspended sitting again as only 18 MPs show up for work, and this was in 2017, December 2017. There are a few other headlines that we can share with you. So, Speaker to name shame MPs who are always late. And the Majority Leader, others must take government business serious. Banda MP. Absentee MPs cost taxpayer 1.4 million cedis in 2017. That's Odikro, and that's a parliamentary watchdog group that we just spoke with. Ernest Ni Ashite Ama is the director of. Now, the Ghana Water Company is hoping to complete by close of business Thursday repair works on a leakage on one of its major pipelines, serving millions of Accra's residents. The company explains the ongoing exercise is a reason why residents in suburbs in the Accra West region, including Awoshi, Kolebu, Achimota, Bawe, Odoko, and Akuman, have not had water running through their taps in the last few days. Though officials say the repair works should be completed in the next few hours, they explain it will take a while before taps in the affected areas begin to flow again. Komladom has more.
It is a commodity in high demand here at Kwashiman in Accra. Water. Here, many individuals have traveled from far and near to get water following the shutdown of the water treatment plant 2 days ago. 43-year-old Salome Edu lives here and runs a little school, but there's been no water flowing through the taps for at least 2 days. School activities and other domestic chores have almost grounded to a halt. Salome and her family have to travel in search of water.
I'm just finding things very difficult. So we have to go and fetch water from the other people's house before we can do our work.
Cooking for the children has been affected too. But Salome is not the only one feeling the pinch. Many residents here at Kwashimang, Odoko, Kanishi and the like are all without water. They all have not made efforts to check with the Ghana Water Company Limited about why their taps are shut. All they do is complain silently.
The water company does not inform us about such shutdowns. That makes life unbearable.
Imagine. You have to go to far places just to go and fetch the water. It's not easy at all.
Mr. Obeng, who manages a solitary borehole here, says people travel all the way from Fadama to get water from here. The taps are not flowing and it's been more than 2 days. People come all the way from Fadama to fetch from this borehole. But residents here, as well as those in Kanishi, Bawi, Odoko, Malam, Achimota, Tesano and other areas in Accra West, will have to wait a while longer as the Ghana Water Company says it is working on the leakage problem, one of its pipelines at the Awoshi workstation. Accra West Communications Manager of the water company, Solis Akumia, says work should be done by close of Thursday.
Across the main road, there are 4 of the big pipelines. They have finished work on them. But here, they are doing what we call blanking. They are blocking the big pipeline. But they were having problems because there's still water. Even though the water treatment plant is off, there's still water running through the pipeline. And so in fixing it, they are using fire. When the fire comes into contact with the water, it goes off. And that has been the problem. That has delayed the process here, and that's why they still have not finished the work. But as it stands, they are almost done. They will finish by close of work today.
However, residents in the above-mentioned areas will still not have water run through their taps. Here is why.
Our customers may still not get water. A lot of them may still not get water flowing through their taps today. Some may even get water in 2 days' time because when the treatment plant shuts down, and we start operating, it takes time for the whole system to get fully charged. And if what I mean by fully charged is the pressures in the pipelines must build up very well before the distribution. The water can flow to all our customers. Some on the high elevated areas, hilly areas, may get water, let's say, in about 2 days' time.
Officials say they are hopeful the recurring problem of leakages on the pipes here at Awoshi, which causes flooding of the area, will be addressed once and for all this time. Until then, people will have to make the long treks to get water.
Right, before we take a break to bring you business news, I just want us to go to our Facebook page where we posted the story on the absenteeism in Parliament, and some of you have been sharing your views with us. We'll take a few of your comments. We have Peter Nanaya says, votes all of them out. They are only there for their self-interest. And Palmer's Rich says, I think legislatures must be validated and be paid according to the number of days being present in Parliament. Those taking the sabbatical leaves, names must be published so that their constituencies vote against them come 2020, regardless of party affiliation. And you can go to our Facebook page and our social media handles and share with us what you think about the absenteeism in Parliament. And we're going to read them later on JoyNews Interactive. Right now, though, we're taking a break, and coming up, the Ghana Armed Forces is demanding continuous provision of modern logistics and resources so it could keep up with the ever-increasing spate of crime the country is being confronted with. Whilst applauding government for the provision of equipment to aid in its operations, Chief of Defence Staff Lieutenant General Obed Aqua said timely retooling will sharpen the readiness of the Army to defend the country. He was addressing the 2018 West Africa Security Services Association socialization at Belmacamp, Accra.
We acknowledge that the past year was quite challenging in terms of our responsibilities vis-à-vis the limited resources and other constraints within which we had to operate. However, as always, we persevered in applying our capabilities in a manner that ensured the attainment of our mission. Throughout the year 2018, we continue to offer our services to ensure the internal security of the nation and to contribute our quota to the developmental efforts of Ghana. We also continue to participate in international peace support operations. As you are all aware, crime and insurgency have become more sophisticated worldwide, and it takes constant training, good modern equipment, the development of pragmatic strategies, and the cooperation of stakeholders for the Ghana Armed Forces to keep pace with these challenging dynamics. In this regard, we applaud the demonstrated commitment of the government under the leadership of the President and our Commander-in-Chief, our sector minister, in retooling the Ghana Armed Forces to enhance our operational capability, even though I dare say that yet more would be required. We also appreciate the cooperation from other sister security services, governmental agencies, the diplomatic corps, allied foreign governments, as well as local and international private corporate institutions.
Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul meanwhile says government has put before Parliament a $100 million loan agreement to improve conditions at the military training school and various garrisons across the country.
I laid in Parliament a loan of $100 million US, which will change the face of the Ghana Military Academy attaché. It is expected that Mr. President will cut the sword next month. We expect that after 1 year, when you visit the Ghana Military Academy, it will be a different military academy that you will see there. Mr. President, part of that money will be used to construct befitting housing facilities and accommodation for our troops, particularly those of the other ranks, across all the garrisons of the Ghana Armed Forces. In Tamale, in Accra, in Sekandi Takrady, in Sunyani, and in Kumasi. Mr. President, your troops have been deploying across the world in peace support operations over the last 1 year. Mr. President, you were here to donate to the Ghana Armed Forces 140 vehicles as a first part, and the second part you will do in May. Mr. President, the Ghana Armed Forces were involved in several operations: Operation Conquer Fist, Operation Kudilagu, Mr. President, and Operation Gongo. Mr. President, you tasked the Ghana Armed Forces through the Ministry of Defense to send the Ghana Air Force aircraft for overhaul. I'm proud to say that the 2 Mi-17s that you asked us to send for overhaul have returned and are in service.
President Akufo-Addo said his government has fulfilled some promises made to the Ghana Armed Forces and pledged to do more to ensure the army becomes a formidable force on the continent.
This government is fully committed to the well-being and welfare of the men and women of the Ghana Armed Forces. We will continue to stay true to the pledges we made in the 2016 manifesto that brought my party, the New Patriotic Party, and I into office. In addition to others, we increased the United Nations peacekeeping troops contribution allowances from $30 to $35 per soldier per day. We cleared the outstanding arrears of $13 million United States dollars for all peacekeeping personnel. We're now paying your allowances at the place of operations as you wished. We have also settled the 11.1% of arrears due to the civilian employees and effected a 10% upward salary review for all personnel. The completion of the third phase of the 37 military hospital is on course, and we're also completing the 500-bed military hospital in the Ashanti region, and will begin the third phase of this project soon. Work is ongoing on the barracks regeneration projects, with the 4 blocks of 16 flats each, between 60 to 75% complete. Nearly a month ago, in fulfillment of an October 2018 pledge, I presented 50 Ankai buses, 40 Toyota Land Cruiser hard-body vehicles.
A coalition of human rights bodies seeking to offer assistance, legal aid to the commercial bus driver and the conductor who were arrested by the police for assaulting a police officer in Accra say they have finally made contact with the two after running around after challenges trying to get access to them. Now, Robert Amwafo is the country director of Amnesty International, one of the bodies which is trying to get access to the two, joins me via Skype right now. Good evening to you, Mr. Amwafo. So you were saying that you initially had challenges trying to get to these two, the driver and the mate, who were arrested for assaulting the police officer, but now you're saying you have made contact with them.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate this opportunity to explain this incident. It's quite worrying that somebody will be arrested for an offense and it will be difficult to reach the person not long after the person has been remanded. Over the period, my colleagues and myself have been looking for these two people, and it's been difficult. If you go to one police station, you are told to move to another, and then when you go to the other, you are told there's another. It's later that you are told this evening. It's only when we have made this public and we have made it some noise about these issues before we are being told that these people are at the CID headquarters. So it has been difficult, and it is something that clearly shows some lack of information flow, communication within the police system, which is worrying.
Mr. Mafo, could it be that you were looking in the wrong places? Because if you had, I believe you had been to the police headquarters to ask or inquire from them, they would have told you where you find him.
Of course, I mean, if somebody is arrested in a particular domain, the person is expected to be put in a particular police station. So this even calls for questioning. Why are these people being sent to the headquarters? Why is it that they are not being placed in the place where they were arrested and they are being questioned somewhere else? This gives us cause to worry. And this case has attained some sort of attention for the media and the general public. So we expect the police to follow procedure and ensure that they show the best practices that there are. If you have sent somebody to the headquarters, why is it that the people who had the people before, had the guys before, did not know that they are currently at the headquarters? So this raises cause for concern.
Right. The issue you have been pushing is legal representation for this driver and the mate. Now that you know where they are, what happens next?
So together with some civil society organizations, we are hoping that tomorrow we'll be able to meet these people and ensure that they have adequate legal representation as required by law. We expect that we're able to assist them through the process, because at the first instant, they didn't have legal representation before they were remanded. And therefore, we hope that as we engage with them, we're able to see possibilities, looking at the facts, and see if there's a possibility for a bail, which they have the right to.
All right, thank you very much. Robert Amwafo is the country director of Amnesty International. You're still watching Joy News Prime. And moving on, a 9-year-old boy whose accident in a vehicle knockdown inspired the Joy News documentary. A boy's wish has had his wish come true 3 years after the tragedy. When Jeremiah Arthur was knocked down by a car in 2016, his left leg was chopped off at the scene, while the other was fractured, leaving him with no chance at all of walking again until his story was featured in the Joy News documentary. Thanks to a number of interventions which have come his way, including the offer by the Orthopedic Training Center at Nsawam to give him a prosthetic leg, Jerry is back on his feet. Manasseh Azuriah-Winnie, who produced the documentary, was at Nsawam when Jerry took his first steps after the operation, and reports.
With his prosthetic leg, Jerry can now move on his own without a wheelchair or clutches. Since a car veered off the road and knocked him in his school in June 2016, he's always relied on his wheelchair or on others to move from one point to the other. After nearly 2 months at Nsawam, however, he's going back to Takoradi in a condition that brings a lot of relief to his mother, Betty Manson.
They gave me a date to bring him to be treated. When I brought him, they admitted him and treated him at no cost to us. They watched the documentary and said that was their way of supporting Jerry. This has taken a lot of burden from us. At school, he used to complain about being tired of sitting. Now he can stand and walk. He can walk to the bathroom by himself.
Nti sesi a mehu se senior ya ne nan ama no otumi gina ho no okoskru na obra obetumi gina ho ananten kakra ebi okodware a ifie enye me na me pagya no biom ono abetumi akọ obetumi use a toilet room ono abetumi aye bibi nketen binti ebeboa.
For Jeremiah Arthur, his new condition makes him more sociable among his peers.
I can walk. I can use the steps now.
Okay. And what else?
And I can play a bit.
In the washroom, do you need somebody to take you to the washroom, or you can go to the washroom on your own now?
I can go to the washroom on my own.
So, can you tell me your situation is now better than it used to be?
Yes.
Going to school, how would this make you feel when you're going back to school in this condition?
I'll be happy.
The director of the Orthopedic Training Center, Reverend Sister Elizabeth Newman, tells Joy News Jerry would need regular maintenance and replacement of the prosthetic leg as he grows.
A child like Jeremiah, he will need repairs every year. He will need a new artificial leg maybe every 4 or 5 years until he's fully grown. And that's an expense. And his situation is that there should have been some kind of court case. There should have been some money put aside to him for the future. Because his leg is always going to be missing and he will always need a new one. And so I think this is where the country has to be a little more serious about people who do this to children.
She says Jerry shows a lot of promise, and with the needed support, his future looks bright.
We always used to smile in church services. Whenever Father would ask questions, Jeremiah's hand went up and he always had the answers. So I think Jeremiah, he has a very good personality. He's an outgoing child. He's not a child that he's going to sit in the corner and you have to draw him out. So I think with his personality and with a good education, he will be able to take care of himself. And that's our hope and desire and dream for every child here.
After the Joy News documentary, Bayport Savings and Loans pledged to offer Jerry a scholarship. A representative of the company, Mavis Siada, was at Nsawam to meet Jerry and his parents to finalize the paperwork for the scholarship.
The educational scholarship would cover Jerry's tuition right from now, from primary 4 second term, which takes effect from May this year, until Jerry completes his tertiary education.
After using a wheelchair for nearly 3 years, Jerry is still adjusting to life on his feet. It is not a perfect condition, but it means a lot and changes a lot in the family, especially his mother, who has served as his legs all these years. For Joy News, Manasseh Azore Arena reporting.
And we wish Jerry all the best. Now, the African Library and Information Associations and institutions is debunking suggestions open access academic publications are substandard. Executive Director Dr. Helena Asama Hassan says though they are free to access, such materials are subjected to stringent editorial processes, just like proprietary works. Speaking at an open access publishing workshop, she urged researchers in Africa to take opportunity to disseminate such works. Percy Deborah has more.
Dr. Samoa Hassan says her outfit is striving to link up researchers in member institutions to open access publishers to enhance study. She revealed members who soon roll out an open access journal for librarians in Africa to publish their work.
Research articles which are freely available to everybody. And when you say freely available, that is you can access it, use it, download it, print it. So in essence, it is something which is very useful to the African researcher because, you know, most often these journals that we subscribe to are costly. But then with the open access, most often we have access to these articles which are free. Sometimes people say that the articles in open access journals are not good, but it's not true because they also go through the same editorial systems that the other ones, which we call the proprietary ones, go through. So in effect, it is a movement which is enabling research to be freely available to developing countries. It's also for developed countries, but we in the developing countries, we use it more. So in a nutshell, that is what open access is to us as researchers in the developing world.
College of Science librarian at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Richard Bruce Lamte, describes as worrying high fees the public pays to access works published with institutional funds.
We will move to a point where we believe that this research conducted by the researchers is public funds. So why should I give these researchers this public fund? And the same public or the public will also have to pay to have access to the resources. It really doesn't help. We are paying double. So if it's a public funds, therefore, then we need to put it on a platform that is openly available. So that's why we believe that public funded research needs to be made publicly accessible. We don't have to pay again to have access.
The two-day session brought together librarians from tertiary institutions across the country. It was sponsored by Electronic Information for Libraries. Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
So that's it for the line. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.